In fact, like one of the biggest AI risks I am worried right now is like AI authoritarianism, and a small number of people or companies thinking they need to control the world. That'd be very, very bad.
That is Sam Altman. Naming what he says scares him most about artificial intelligence. Not killer robots, not lost jobs. A small number of people or companies deciding for everyone. The same month, on a different podcast, he was asked what he got most wrong. The structure he means is the nonprofit, the one built so no small group could ever own this. Both sentences are his, 4 weeks apart. Let's take him completely seriously. Starting with the fear, in his own words, unedited. No paraphrase, no clipping him mid-sentence.
Which I haven't talked about much, is we made a mistake to try to innovate in our structure in the beginning.
On July 28th, he sat down for a long interview about how OpenAI actually works. Halfway through, he stopped talking about products and named an enemy, not a rival lab, a shape.
Things that we stand against. Concentration of power with AI is a terrifying thing. I think a lot.
Terrifying. That is the word the chief executive of OpenAI chose. Then he did something more unusual. He split the safety debate in two, because he is about to say something most chief executives never say out loud about their own industry. Some of the fear is real, he said, and some of it is a tool. People who want power, he said, sometimes even without knowing it, reach for the fear. Because fear justifies a gate, and whoever holds the gate holds everything behind it. That is the mechanism. Fear goes in, permission comes out. Here's the full sentence. It is the most important 30 seconds in this video.
To live in a world of, AI overlords, or a company that is the rough equivalent of that, where someone is making decisions for all of the future, and in exchange for a cure for cancer, which obviously is a wonderful thing, we kind of collectively cede all agency. So I think it's...
Read that clause again, because he slipped it in almost casually. It is the load-bearing part of everything that follows. AI overlords, or a company that is the rough equivalent of that. He put a company in the same sentence as an overlord. He did not name one. He did not have to. There are only a handful of labs that could qualify. And notice the trade he describes. You are not robbed, you are paid. A cure for cancer. In exchange, everyone quietly gives up the right to decide. Notice how reasonable it sounds. That is the point. That is his actual nightmare. Not a takeover, a very good deal. So, somebody should build a safeguard against exactly that. Somebody did. December 2015, a group of engineers and investors start an AI lab. It had no owners, no shares, and no way for anyone to get rich from it. Not a company, a nonprofit. That word was the entire design. The founding charter says the point out loud. All of humanity, not shareholders, not one board. That was the promise. That is written into the founding document, not a press release. But why a nonprofit specifically? He explained it himself in the same interview.
We wanted to be structured in a way where even if the technology went on a very fast takeoff, our mission was protected. And so we had this nonprofit structure.
Stop there. He just told you what the structure was for, a very fast takeoff, meaning the moment the technology outruns everyone watching it, not a slow rollout, a jump fast enough that the rules never catch up. That is the exact moment a small group could end up holding the world. Whoever is holding the controls at that moment holds them for a very long time. So the nonprofit and the fear are the same shape. One was armor against the other. That armor did not stay on. In 2019, a for-profit arm appeared underneath it. The reason was simple. Training these models costs far more than donations can cover. Investors could earn a return, but only up to a cap. The nonprofit still sat on top. Then the money got serious, and a cap is a hard thing to sell to serious money. Capital wants upside without a ceiling, and there was a ceiling. The cap came off. The lab became a public benefit corporation with a foundation above it. Here's the part that matters for his own argument. The foundation holds a special class of stock, and with it, the final say on safety. Sole authority over safety. For a technology he says could take off faster than anyone expects. To be fair, that is the safeguard working. Somebody has to be able to say stop. A brake nobody is allowed to pull is not a brake at all. But look at the shape of it next to his own sentence. A small group, making decisions for all of the future. That is the safeguard, described exactly. This is not a gotcha. It is the actual, unsolved problem, and he knows it. There may not be a clean answer to it anywhere. Any brake powerful enough to stop a takeoff is powerful enough to be a throne. Which brings us back to the question he was asked at the end of that interview. What did you get wrong? He did not pick a product or a hire or a launch. He picked the one decision the entire company was built around. He picked the armor.
We would have saved ourselves a great deal of pain in many ways if we had not tried to innovate on our structure and found some other way to preserve the central importance of the mission.
A great deal of pain. He is not wrong about the pain. That part is documented publicly in filings and in court. The structure produced a board fight that nearly ended him and years of lawsuits. It slowed the fundraising. It confused every investor who looked at it. All of that is true. And all of it is what a real guardrail feels like from the inside. Friction is the product. That is the whole job. A guardrail that never causes pain is not a guardrail. It is decoration. He does add one honest line. Maybe there was no other way. That is worth sitting with. He is not claiming he found a better answer. He is saying he did not. He is describing a trap, not an escape from it. Meanwhile, the thing the armor was built for kept happening anyway. In that same interview, his host mentioned a specialist engineer with maybe 2 years left. Kernel's engineers write the low-level code that makes the chips run fast. Specialists. Hard to replace.
It also seems blocked on. And he himself said there's like 2 years left of kernel century.
Maybe one.
Yeah, like it's not going to be a thing.
Maybe one. He cut the estimate in half without pausing. Then he described the strangest part of the building he runs. Because the leverage is moving and everyone inside can feel it. The researchers are, in his words, the most important people in the world. And those same people are worried they will not be relevant very soon. Follow that where it goes. Today, the leverage sits with the people who can build the model. If the model builds the next model, that leverage does not disappear. It moves. That is what recursive self-improvement means in plain language. It moves to whoever owns the building, which is a structure, which is the thing he called a mistake. So where does that leave us? Let's be careful here, because this is where people get lazy. Nothing in this video says he wants to control the world. He says the opposite, repeatedly. He argues against concentration more consistently than almost anyone in his position. He wants the technology cheap, abundant, and in everyone's hands. That is his stated position. And in that same interview, asked whether fatherhood made him care more, he was dry about it.
Like, people ask me sometimes, like, oh, now that you have kids, do you care? Are you more worried about AI safety and, not destroying the world? And the answer is like, I didn't need kids I really didn't want to destroy the world.
That is not a villain. And that is exactly what makes this hard, because concentration of power has never needed a villain. It only needs good reasons. It has always arrived with a reason attached, and the reason has usually been true. Every reason he gave was a good one. Protect the mission, survive the takeoff, reduce the pain. And the lab that started with no owners is now the most valuable startup ever built. He named the risk himself. A small number of people or companies thinking they need to control the world. That is not our framing. It is his own sentence, said out loud in July. He was talking about a category. He runs one of the 2 companies inside it. We are not telling you what to conclude. Both sentences are on the record, 4 weeks apart. Every claim here is a direct quote or a public filing. Both interviews are linked below. Go listen yourself. If you want the other half of this story, the video on OpenAI freezing its own training is on the end screen.